Jack, I can't stand it. Reducing the presidency to a series of anecdotes. I feel like a circus animal doing tricks. I thought I made it clear. I wanted no questions on marketing. The second you open up the floor for questions, all those son of a bitches want to hear about is Washington. Like all my other accomplishments, cease to exist.
Well, you're going to get your chance to talk about them sooner than you think.
Oh, how?
Frost got there. He got the money.
Really?
I hear most of it's borrowed, that some friends have bailed him out. But the point is, we start taping end of March.
Yes, but how much is devoted to Watergate?
25%. Only one of 4 90-minute shows.
What are the other 3?
Foreign policy, domestic affairs, and Nixon the man.
As opposed to what? Nixon the horse?
I imagine it's some kind of biographical piece, sir.
Oh, I can see it now. Deprived childhood, the father who neglected me, the 2 brothers that died, leaving me with the survivors with more spared. Still, the fact this has come together is a good thing, no?
Mr. President, it's fantastic. Frost is just not in your intellectual class. You'll be able to dictate terms, rebuild your reputation. If you ask me,
What?
if this went well, sir, if enough people watched it, revised their opinion, you could move back east. Way, way earlier than we'd expected.
You think?
I'm certain.
Oh, Jack, that's wonderful. I love San Clemente, don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful place. Get back to where the action is. There's still hunger in the belly, Jack. There's books to write, lectures to give, leaders to advise, foreign dignitaries to entertain. Because it all comes down to what?
Nothing to worry about, sir. It's not as if there will be any revelations. That stuff has been combed over hundreds of times by journalists and congressmen, and nobody's managed to pin anything on you.
Well, still, it's been a while since I've spoken about it in public. I better brush up. It'd be nice to know what his strategy is. Where's he staying, Jack?
At the Beverly Hills Hilton.
Oh, Beverly Hills Hilton. I know a few guys there. Cubans with CIA training. Oh, Jesus, Jack, it was a joke. You gotta lighten up.
Yes, of course, Mr. President.
Sure seen your face, Jack.
As it happens, we were taking the whole question of security very seriously. We had strict confidentiality clauses for everyone involved. From day one, we kept a locked safe for all our files. Since the ex-president's name attracted attention, we would refer in telexes to the subject, and in restaurants, Nixon would become William Holden or Charlton Heston. As for the work, we divided it into 3 sections. Bob took foreign and domestic policy, Bert took Vietnam, and I got Watergate and the abuses of power. Perhaps because he was oldest, Zelnick got to play Nixon in all our rehearsals. We would throw questions at him, and based on years of watching and writing about the president, he would anticipate what his line would be.
All right, what about the White House taping system?
Ours wasn't the first administration to use taping systems in the White House. Lyndon Johnson's had that, did Kennedy's.
On the alleged abuses of power.
Let me tell you, other administrations were for far worse.
All right, what about the Supreme Court's decision that Nixon had to hand over the tapes?
Political decision, right there. From a judiciary body with the constitutional obligation to remain neutral.
The illicit bombing of Cambodia.
Done with secret permission of the king after enemies invaded his country.
Just for fun. Jack Kennedy.
That man screwed anything that moved, rigged elections and drug us into Vietnam, and the American people loved him for it. Meanwhile, I toiled endlessly in their services, and they hated me.
Great service!
Oh, well, let's take a break here.
Oh, gents.
You know, we've been in LA 2 months. I haven't seen any movie stars. The only food I've eaten is club sandwiches, and the only movie I've seen is the porno on my TV. God, is there anything in life as depressing as a porno the second time around?
Well, this might cheer you up. Jack Anderson, The Washington Post. If Richard Nixon was expecting an easy ride in the upcoming interviews with David Frost, it appears he might have made a mistake. Sources close to the British talk show host have revealed that Frost has hired a team of crack investigators with the aim of forcing him into admissions he has been hitherto unwilling to make.
Crack investigators, huh?
Ooh, can I be deep crack?
Absolutely.
Hello?
David Frost, now.
Jack Brennan?
Sounds a little emotional.
Hello, Jack.
Watergate.
Yes, Jack.
Our lawyers would like to come to an agreement on a definition of the word.
Well, as far as I understand, it's a large office and hotel complex in Washington, D.C., Jack.
You know what I mean for the interview. We'd like to propose that Watergate is an umbrella term for anything negative.
Wait. You mean all the other domestic charges against him? The Brookings Institute, the Plumbers Unit, the enemies list, all that would go into Watergate?
Correct.
Into a 190-minute show?
Yes.
Well, that's absurd. And a clear breach of the terms of our agreement.
Okay. How would you define Watergate?
Well, then it covers just that. The Watergate break-in of June the 17th and the subsequent cover-up and investigations.
Fine, in which case the deal is off.
Fine, in which case you can expect a lawsuit in the sum of $20 million in damages and lost earnings.
The terms of the contract stipulate quite clearly that Watergate take up no more than 25% of the time.
Yes, but nowhere does it say for the other 75% of the time he gets to drone on and sound presidential.
Drone on, Jesus Christ. Where is your respect? Remember who you're talking about. You media people, you're so goddamn smug and self-righteous. You know as well as I do that 60% of what Nixon did in office was correct. 30% may have ended up wrong, but he thought it was right at the time.
Yes, but that would still leave 10% where he was doing the wrong thing and knew it.
I guarantee you, if you screw us on the 60%, I will ruin you. If it takes the rest of my life.
Oh, and I guarantee you, if you stonewall us on the rest, I'll repay the compliment!
They got Jack Brennan around. That certainly is encouraging.
How did the technical checks go today, by the way?
Not so great. The Coast Guard station by Nixon's house has a Loran facility. What? It's a radar device whose signals would be damaging the television tape.
So, San Clemente is out.
That's correct. But the scout was able to secure a mansion up in Monaco Bay, about 10 miles up the coast. Nixon security people are checking it now.
So how should we begin? I mean, what should my first question be?
Well, I say go for the throat. Set the tone as you need to go on. Ask why we didn't burn the tape.
No, don't do that. Let's go on the defensive. The first question should be elusive. Let him know what time it's been. Ask about Mrs. Nixon after her stroke, or the president after his phlebitis, or the life he's made for himself in retirement. Something
Bob, the deafening click that you will hear is the sound of 40 million Americans switching off their televisions. No.
Okay, then pick it up where the world saw him last, on the White House lawn. Have him recall the moments prior to his departure, and then ask him to evaluate how he thinks history will view the presidency.
Please, if you ask him how it felt to leave the White House, I do get a self-serving and emotional homily.
Yes,
And if you ask him to assess his presidency, we'll just get the last 5 chapters of his memoir.
I think John's right. Why didn't he burn the tape?
No, David, that would be a disaster and open up the whole Watergate thing well before our agreed time. And what's the point of having contractually set times to talk about specific subjects if we break that contract with the first question?
Because this is war, isn't it? Gloves are off. I like it. It's ballsy. It's confrontational.
John's right. Tapes it is. By the way, Paramount John, relate to CBS. Cars, please. Let's go.
That wasn't the first time there that the Americans and the Brits disagreed, nor would it be the last. That night, Bob and I stayed back in his hotel room and watched dinner. We caught the tail end of 60 Minutes, where Mike Wallace was gleefully giving our friend payback for having outbid him.
If you feel that he is stonewalling, or from what you've learned in your research, lying, what do you do?
I shall say so, again and again and again. But I'm hoping his approach won't be to stonewall. I'm hoping it will be that of a cascade of candor.
A cascade of candor from Richard Nixon? Is this what you expect?
No, I just thought that might be a phrase that appealed to you.
He is hardly going to confess on the air anything about Watergate. If he's going to do anything of that sort, he's going to do it in his book, which is worth 3 or 4 times as much money to him. Why would he give it to you?
Because he realizes that television is a more powerful medium than a book.
Does he have a piece of the profit?
But I really can't go into any of the details.
Wait. If, let's say, you paid him $600,000 as a down payment or whatever, and you make $3 million, does he have a piece of the?
Well,
How true is that saying?
Well, you'll have to ask Switchy about that, because I have promised I will not give any details about that particular part of the arrangement.
I feel sick.
Me too.
Did you know about this?
Oh, I did not.
Profit participation? Do you know how unethical that is? Where's David? I have to speak to him.
At a movie premiere,
What? The night before we start taping? What premiere?
Slipper and the Rose,
The Cinderella movie?
he's the executive producer.
The one with Richard Chamberlain singing Ding Diddy Ding Ding?
Yes. And when I brought this up to Bert, that it might be an idea to have our interviewer rested and focused in his hotel room for the task at hand, he told me that David is a performer of the highest caliber and has done this many times before. It will be fine.
He said performer?
Performer.
That was the word he used.
Yes.
Not journalist or interviewer.
No, he said performer.
Out of curiosity, where are you at this moment? Psychically.
I'm imagining the dust, the darkness, the loneliness, and unimaginable agony of the wilderness I'm about to be dispatched to by my Washington political colleagues.